That leads me to a question though, because I was going to save this for later in the show, but it fits perfectly now. You got to be flexible. Who do you guys think? Who do you really think may hit a wall in 2025? Like we talked about people that are going to win in the new year, or who we think are going to win. Who do we think is like going to hit a wall, not really grow, or maybe even retire?
I just want to point out before we move on that you said 2 Americans were winning Grand Slams, Miles. So just so you know, just so we're putting that on record, we go 20 years now.
It's the closest they've ever been.
It's the closest they've ever been. Like,
just letting you know.
Literally and figuratively, and I did think about that, Jason, when I was writing that down. But I said I was making some wild thoughts. No Rihanna. I was thinking far out there. You caught that, Clinton? Thanks. Appreciate it.
Wow.
I forgot.
In terms of who I think is done or will hit a wall, I think it already kind of started this year.
For who?
But I think Grigor is hanging it up at the end of 2025.
That's mine too.
I love Grigor. He is one of my sentimental favorites. Roger Federer is my favorite men's player of all time, and Grigor is like the Kobe Bryant equivalent. So Roger Federer is Michael Jordan, Grigor Dimitrov is Kobe Bryant, but way less successful.
Yeah.
But in terms of mirroring your game after somebody, it's Grigor, and he had a really good end of 2023. He won his first title in like 7 years at Brisbane earlier this year. And then, things were trending further up for him. But then that injury at Wimbledon, I think, is what really set him back. And it was humbling for him, I think, to really realize like, oh yeah, I am 34 years old. I can't do this forever.
Yeah. But I'm smiling. I know I said that Taylor Fritz might win the Australian Open, but actually, if it's not going to be Taylor Fritz, I thought that there would be like some kind of almost miraculous run for Grigor Dimitrov to win that tournament, and that be the one. And then if he decides to retire, he can. Yeah, I feel like he's one of those guys that has been like so. I don't want to say like something easy as like just good for tennis, but it feels like he really, really likes the sport, and it'd be nice to see the sport like kind of, give him something before he goes. Not that he's like he literally finishes the top 10 players. So like he's playing really, really good tennis, but eventually there's going to come a time where age starts to catch up with you, and around tennis terms, it's like 35-ish, Exactly. So we'll see what happens.
It's not impossible because as we've seen, I think over the past year or so, on his day, he can hang with the best of them and dismantle the best of them. I think back to the Miami match with Alcaraz, and I'm like,
yeah,
if you put that on the court every single time, he's beating everybody.
Yeah,
he can show up.
That's what I was saying about consistency as well. Like what I was talking about with Djokovic. Like, last year was like an outlier. I'm not saying that he can't do it again. It's really unlikely though, like especially when you're just getting older. Like he had his most wins on tour since 2017, and that got him to number 10. So we're saying he has to repeat exactly that again in order to get back into the top 10. And I don't see that happening again.
When you put it like that,
the younger players are coming. Like they're getting better. He's not getting any younger, and he, like you said, you can't keep doing this forever. So I just think, I'm not saying he's going to fall off a cliff, but I just don't think he's going to be a top 10 player. So,
okay.
If I had to do somebody else, I would say Rublev.
Yeah.
I think the power couple will go out together, if you want to call it that.
Wait. Are you saying Dimitrov and Rublev are the power couple?
Yeah, you remember
they had a huge romance.
They had that whole little romance. Yeah, you remember that?
I had forgotten about that. So much when I think about Rublev has been him hitting himself. I forgot all about that.
Yeah. When he's not hitting himself, Grigor's telling him how much he loves him, and he's my best friend.
Maybe they can both win Grand Slams in 2025.
Come on. I just think mentally, like he just needs a break. Honestly, like he's not great when he's bashing himself over the head with the rackets, or smashing them on the court, or smacking balls at ball boys. He's not even like he's a great front runner. Like, he's not great when he falls behind or in tiebreakers. Like, pressure situations, he's not good at. He's not good against top 10 players. I think last year he won 38%, 3 out of 9 when facing top 10 players. So he's a compiler. He plays a lot of matches. Plays a lot of lower level matches. Yeah, compiler.
That is a great word. Can we start using that instead of like journeyman?
Zverev is another one.
Zverev is another one. Rude is another one. You know, they're points compilers. Like, they do just good enough. They get to the semifinals, the quarters, a couple hundred points. You know, adds up.
Yep.
You know,
I love that.
Right.
The
thing is, when he did beat Alcaraz, you know, in Madrid, but I think I read an interview where he said the only reason he did so good in Madrid was because he didn't talk. He didn't say a single word to himself. And I'm not betting on that happening again.
And Felix was in the final.
Exactly. He beat Fritz and Felix to win it. So, meh. So yeah, I just think Rublev's going to fall into maybe the teens, 20s. He'll play enough where he'll stay ranked. He'll
I don't think he'll fall out of the top 20. That's for sure. Yeah. Like, I don't think that'll happen. That'll take a major fall off. But do I want to tiptoe back over to the Canadian border and talk about Felix? Because I'm somewhere between he might be in the group of like hitting a wall, and I don't want this
hitting
to happen.
A wall.
Hey.
He's already hit it.
Hey, Clinton. Everybody has struggles, okay?
He is out on field.
Yeah, he's out on the limb. No Tina Marie. I fear that if he does not have a better 2025, I'm going to have to meet you out on that limb, Clinton. But it could go either way. We were talking earlier about if that positive experience from, you know, saying I do or preparing to say I do helps on the court.
That's going to make it worse. The ancestors can't help him on court. I don't know what it. Yeah, I used to love Felix. I used to hold that man down, but he has let me down too many times for me.
Well, he just took a trip to Togo. Him and the ancestors should be right here. They should be right here.
Nope, it's not enough.
Well, how do you go on a trip to Togo and come back and marry?
He said this was confirmation. I'm sorry. I'm done.
Wait,
He saw all those melanated people and was like, yeah, I think I'm doing the right thing. Mm-hmm.
All right.
But I'm just going to attribute that to him having a white mother.
Which is fine. Just want to put that out there.
It's like
everybody.
If you want to marry anybody, if you have a great mom, why wouldn't you want your wife to have some of the attributes of your mom?
Fair.
So I'm going to cut him some slack there. But in terms of his game, it's hit a wall. He's hit rock bottom. He's in rock bottom of bikini bottom. So it's just.
But the good thing is that he's still under 25. There's time. There's time to turn it around. Maybe a coaching change here or there. I don't know.
He hasn't even done that.
Time.
He's been on tour like as a consistently good player, like someone who's been in the mix. I would say for the past, 2024, past 5 years.
Yeah.
And he hasn't changed his coach at any point. And he's been up and down these rankings. Yeah. His game has been up and down. And the one thing that has stayed the same, his coach. So
Is Gal Monfils anywhere involved in the Felix story? I feel like they have a similar little career trajectory.
They played at Laver Cup, and Felix does not appreciate the type of player.
I forgot about that, Clinton. Oh my god.
Felix takes tennis very seriously.
That was the spiciest I've ever seen him. Like, how you got a dog in you against Gael Monfils, but not at the U.S. Open? Boy.
He wants to play games. I can play games too.
It just seems like
I forgot about that trajectory.
But with Gael, I never expected anything out of him, if I'm being completely honest, because he doesn't he's more of a showman. Like, that is something that really, Whereas someone with Felix, you can tell he
almost takes it too serious. I feel like he has and this might be, I don't know him, but it feels like he has a journal, and this is my journal right here, and he writes everything that he's going to do that day with like a box, and it needs to be checked, or else he's going to like short circuit. And yeah, or somebody in his life helps him do that, and like it's on the opposite ends of the spectrum. He needs a little bit of more Guy on Morpheus, and Morpheus need a little bit more Felix. I think, you know, structure and all of that together.
Then we won't have Arthur Ashe. We'll have Arthur Ashe. There you go.
Shout out to Arthur Ashe. Okay, so before we trickle on out of here, because we've had a great conversation.
Can I say one more? Can I say one more person that's going to fall?
Yeah, sure.
And y'all might not appreciate this, but I don't think Taylor Fritz is going to have.
So you saved this after I gave that man an Australian Open title that you're gonna.
I definitely did. Yeah, when you see my face, I was like, oh, really? Okay. I just don't. And it's really just based on how the point system works. Like he has to have a similar year. Exactly. He has to have a similar year as he did last year, and I don't see that happening. Like he got to the quarters, 3 out of the 4 majors. That's a big ask to do again. He won a couple of the 250 tournaments. And, you know, the run to the U.S. Open final, it was kind of sketchy. Like, you know, he beats Zverev and Tiafoe because Popyrin took out Djokovic, so that wasn't in his way. So he kind of just had an easy little run. Not easy, but he had a less challenging run than was expected at the U.S. Open, and that's kind of why he got to being a top 5 player. And he was like 500 against top 10 players. It's not like he was dominating people in the field. It was just like he ran up against some lower levels, and he ended up winning.
Ooh, he was on his neck.
Yeah,
the giant killer, right? But yeah, I just don't think. I just think he's going to fall. I think Tommy Paul is going to be probably the highest ranked American this year. But you know, I think Taylor Fritz will still be in the teens. He'll have a solid year. I just don't think he'll have as good of a year as he had this year.
I think he finishes in the top 10.
You think he finishes in the top 10?
I think he finishes in the top 10, just not top 5, like he is currently.
That's fair.
Which often happened, and he still win the Australian Open.
That's true. That's true.
I guess one of my wacky predictions to come through. That's all I want. Just one of them.
Yeah.
At least one of them.